I should have kept driving. Honestly, that's my biggest regret. But I was late for the party. The only open lot was that half-empty strip mall. And there it was, a plywood shack with an orange spray-painted sign. Halloween Emporium, open 1 week only. It looked like salvation, a desperate beacon for a man who had left his costume to the last minute. I bought the last scarecrow costume they had, a real piece of work. Now the straw moves when I'm not inside it, and I can't throw it away because it just keeps coming back. If you ever see one of those stores that wasn't there yesterday, the kind that just appears, floor it. Don't look back. Don't even think about it.
I'm not the kind of guy who believes in curses or ghosts or things that go bump in the night. I'm the guy who double-checks smoke detector batteries twice a year, files taxes on paper, and still writes grocery lists in pen. My world runs on logic and visible evidence. So when my manager moved the office Halloween potluck up by 2 days, my biggest worry wasn't the supernatural. It was logistics. I left work around 7, hit 3 big box stores, all sold out, of course, then remembered that new pop-up everyone was joking about on the neighborhood app. Looks like it was built overnight, one post said. Price is so low it's scary, another laughed. They had no idea how right they were. The parking lot was lit by one flickering floodlight, buzzing like it was choking on its last breath. The plywood walls were peeling. The air felt thick. Inside were a few folding tables, some sad plastic bats dangling from fishing line, and a cashier with a smear of white face paint that didn't quite reach his ears. He never blinked. Not once. Not during the whole transaction. Unsettling, sure, but I told myself it was just bad customer service, or maybe commitment to the Halloween theme. The only full costume left was a scarecrow. Brown corduroy pants, a rough burlap shirt, a rope belt, and a half mask with stitched X-eyes. It looked authentic. The price tag said $19.99, handwritten in shaky, childlike letters. I paid cash. Didn't want to make eye contact. The thing smelled faintly of dirt and damp straw, but I told myself it was just warehouse dust. Around midnight, I finally tried it on. The straw scratched against my skin like dried spaghetti. I took a selfie, sent it to my buddy. He texted back a thumbs up. Then I peeled it off, tossed it over the chair, and passed out. At 3:12 a.m., I woke to a sound. A soft rustle. Not the fridge, not the pipes. Closer. When I sat up, the costume wasn't on the chair anymore. It was on the floor. Arms folded over its chest, like it was hugging itself. I told myself it must have fallen. Hung it in the closet, and went back to bed. Next morning, I found little pieces of straw on the kitchen counter, arranged in the crooked smile. A smile. My roommate was out of town, so unless I'd started sleepwalking, the scarecrow had decided to explore. I stuffed the straw back in, sealed the costume in 2 trash bags, and tossed it in the dumpster. Good riddance. That night, I heard scratching at the door. When I looked, the bag was standing upright, straw poking through the plastic like fingers testing the air. I should have burned it right then, but instead, I poured bleach into the bag, tied it tighter, and shoved it onto the highest pantry shelf. Because adults don't believe in boogeymen. We believe in containment. Next evening, my cat wouldn't leave the pantry. She sat there, tail puffed, eyes fixed upward, growling low and deep. When I opened the door, the bag was empty. The scarecrow was sitting in my desk chair, mask turned toward the front door, waiting. Straw littered the floor in a perfect circle around it. Deliberate. Patterned. The temperature dropped. I could feel it. That kind of cold that lives in your bones, not the air. I grabbed it, dragged it outside, doused it in lighter fluid, and set it on fire. The burlap burned fast. For a second, I swear I heard a sigh. Not of pain, but relief. When the last ember died, I went inside, poured a whiskey, and told myself it was over. At 4:04 a.m., my smoke alarm screamed. No fire, just a haze drifting from the vents, smelling like wet hay and burnt oranges. On my pillow lay a single strand of straw, tied into a tiny knot. A message. That day at work, everything felt wrong. The coffee tasted like soil. Every reflection, the window, my monitor, even the coffee pot, showed a brown shape standing just behind me. When I scratched my neck, my fingers came away bloody. I pulled 17 splinters of straw from my skin. They weren't coming out. They were trying to get in. I drove back to the strip mall. The store was gone. Not closed. Gone. The asphalt was spotless. No pallets, no tape, no sign anything had ever been there. Only the old floodlight, still flickering, blinking Morse code into nothing. I asked the barista next door. She looked confused. Said the unit had been empty since the Radio Shack closed 6 years ago. So I went online. Buried deep in some forgotten forum, I found a thread called Straw Stalker. Someone described the same costume, the same overnight shop, the same rule. Once you wear it, it wears you. His post ended mid-sentence. Account deleted. I drove to the river, chained 2 cinder blocks to my ankles, tied the costume to another, watched it sink, slow and deliberate, into the black water. As it disappeared, I felt lighter, freed. 2 nights later, I woke choking on river water. My sheets were soaked, my feet muddy, and on the carpet, muddy boot prints leading from the door to my bed. The costume was folded neatly on my dresser, dry, clean, waiting. I didn't scream, didn't cry. I laughed, a hollow, broken sound. Because fear can only go so high before it cracks. I tried to make peace. Left a note on the table with a plate of cookies. It said, "You can stay if you stop crawling into my skin. Please." In the morning, the cookies were gone. The plate cracked clean in half. But for 1 whole day, the itching stopped. A truce. Halloween finally arrived. I wore the costume to the office party. Part of me hoping the crowd, the lights, the normalcy might hold it back. People loved it, said it looked so real. In every photo, I'm smiling. And behind me, just at the edge of the frame, there's a second scarecrow. Slightly blurred. Watching. No one else noticed. By the end of the night, my voice rasps like I'd swallowed straw. When I waved goodbye, my reflection in the glass waved after me, half a second late. At home, I unzipped a shirt and straw poured out like the thing was shedding its skin. The mask was missing. I found it on the apartment steps the next morning, stuffed with fresh straw, shaped into a crude heart. I haven't slept in 3 days. The scarecrow walks the hallway when I turn the lights off. It doesn't rush me, doesn't threaten, it just paces. Patient. Waiting. So I'm leaving this voice memo. If you find it, burn every pop-up store you see. Even if it's selling Christmas lights in July. Don't question it. Just burn it. Because once logic starts to unravel, it doesn't stop. And if the scarecrow comes for you, remember, straw burns fast, but it always leaves seeds behind. If you've got a theory about what it wants, leave a comment, because I'm out of ideas. Running out of time. Tap subscribe for more stories that shouldn't be true. Stay safe, stay skeptical, and if you hear rustling in your closet at 3:12 a.m., pretend you're asleep. Don't move. Don't acknowledge it. I keep checking the peephole. The hallway's empty, but the smell of pumpkin rot drifts under the door. Stronger. Sweeter. I'm going to open it. I have to. If the next video on this channel doesn't go up, you'll know the costume found a new wearer. It won. Because bargains that look too good to cost only money always want something else. Always. I should have kept driving. God, I should have kept driving.